So we'll be looking at a reading comprehension passage that came in the CAT 2019 Slot 2 question paper. The passage is about urban settlements. So the magic of squatter cities is that they are improved steadily and gradually by their residents. To a planner's eye, these cities look chaotic, full of chaos. I trained as a biologist, and to my eye, they look organic. So what do you mean by these squatter cities? What do you mean by this? So the thing is, squatter cities are those cities where people come from outside, they come and form settlements here, and more or less uh, the land on which they're staying, right, it is legally not there. So that means these people are staying illegally in these settlements. Okay, so to a planner's eye, these cities look chaotic. I trained as a biologist, and to my eye, they look organic. Squatter cities are also unexpectedly green, so they are environmentally friendly. Okay, friendly. So the thing is, why are these cities green? They have maximum density. That means you have a large number of people staying in a small area. Okay, that is, they've given an example: 1 million people per square mile in some areas of Mumbai, and they have minimum energy and material use. So minimum energy in the sense, right? They expend, or they expend very less energy. So they give an example for that also. People get around by foot, bicycle, rickshaw, or the universal shared taxi. So you don't have one person traveling by car. So you don't have people wasting energy because they either go by foot, bicycle, rickshaw, or the universal shared taxi. Not everything is efficient in the slums. So they're giving an example where it's not always the case where it is efficient in the slums. In the Brazilian favelas are nothing but the slums in Brazil, where electricity is stolen. So you are obviously they're stealing electricity from the government, and therefore free people leave their lights on all day. So here it is, they give an example where they're misusing electricity, and it is not efficient. It is not being efficient. The people are not being efficient in these particular slums. But in most slums, recycling is literally a way of life. And one example is given in that case. The Dharavi slum in Mumbai has 400 recycling units, and 30,000 rack pickers. So they're going to reuse most of the things. So they are being, again, they're being they're following a system of being very environmentally friendly in this particular case. 6,000 tons of rubbish are sorted every day. So 6,000 tons of rubbish, and more or less most of these rubbish will be reused by these people. So in 2007, the Economist reported that in Vietnam and Mozambique, so they're talking about two different countries, waves of gleaners, that is people who go to rubbish and other items, sift the sweepings of Hanoi. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam, just as Mozambican children pick over the rubbish of Maputo. Maputo is also the capital of Mozambique. Every city in Asia and Latin America has an industry based on gathering up of old cardboard boxes. So in this case, one is they're talking about, this is a case where they are not being efficient. They're not being efficient. That is the Brazilian favelas where electricity is stolen and therefore free. And then in the second case is where they are being efficient and green. And they are being efficient and green. They're given three examples. One is about the Dharavi slum in Mumbai, where you have so many recycling units, rack pickers, they recycle the items and reuse them. And then the other cases, they're talking about Vietnam as well as Vietnam and Mozambique, where people again do the same thing. And they're generalizing and saying that every city in Asia and Latin America has an history based on gathering old items. Okay. So in his 1985 article, Calthorpe made a statement that still jars. So when you say still jars is something which means that it uh, still goes against what most people feel. Still goes against what most people feel. Goes against what most people feel. Okay. So he made a statement which more or less is not looked upon favorably by other people. The city is, what he is saying is, the city is the most environmentally benign. Benign. Benign means not harmful. Benign means not harmful. Benign means not harmful. So what he is saying is the city is the most environmentally not harmful form of human settlement. So he's saying the city is the most environmentally, it is the best when it comes to being green. The city is the best form of human settlement. Each city dweller consumes less land, less energy, less water, and produces less pollution than its counterpart in settlements of lower density. So what he's saying is when they're all together, clustered together, they consume less land, they consume less land, less energy, less water, and produces less pollution. Green Manhattan was the inflammatory title of a 2004 New Yorker article by David Owen. By the most significant measures, he wrote, New York is the green. So what is this David Owen? What has he said? New York is the greenest community in the United States and one of the greenest cities in the world. That is what he is saying. The key to New York's relative environmental benignity is its extreme. It's very compact. That's what he is saying. It's very compact. One is he's saying it's the greenest community. Another thing he's saying is the greenest city, one of the greenest cities in the world. The reason being is it's very compact. It has placed 1.5 million people on a 23 square mile island of land, sharply reduces their opportunities to be wasteful. He went on to know that this very compactness forces people to live in the world's most energy efficient. So what he is saying here is you have how many people? 1.5 million people living on a 23 square mile island. So obviously they know that they can only use this much land, this much water, this much energy. So they will be little more smarter, little more efficient. So a result of that, New York as a city is one of the greenest cities in the world. That is what he has said. Okay, so go to the next page. So urban density allows half of humanity to live on 2.8% of the land. Urban density allows half of humanity to live on 2.8% of the land. According to a 2004 UN report, the concentration of people and enterprises in urban areas greatly reduces. So the concentration, because people and businesses are concentrated in urban area, it greatly reduces the unit cost of piped water, sewers, drains, roads, electricity. That is, since you have people all clustered together in the cities, right? They're all together, and you have more people living in a small area of land. The 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 cost involved in setting up your piped water, sewers, drains is much lesser in your cities than the cost that would be incurred if you need to set up pipe water, sewers, drains in in a village or in a smaller town where you have few people staying over acres and acres of land. So what they're saying is the unit cost in setting up pipe water, sewers, drains, roads is much lesser in the cities than in other areas where you have few than other areas with lower densities. That's the simple thing. So the nationally subsidized city of Manaus. So they're giving some example of city of Manaus in northern Brazil. Answers the question of how to stop deforestation. Give people decent jobs. So what do I need to do to stop deforestation? That is cutting down of trees. Give people decent jobs. Then they can afford houses and gain security. So now you give them decent jobs, they can afford house, they have money, they can afford houses, they gain security. So 100,000 people who would otherwise be deforesting the jungle around Manaus are now prospering in towns, making such things as mobile phones. So instead of cutting down trees and trees, what they're doing is they're working on making such things as mobile phones and televisions. Now they have money. So as a result of that, they can afford houses and they gain security. Okay, so of course, fast growing cities are far from an unmitigated. So fast growing cities are far from an uncontrollable. So uncontrollable good. They concentrate crime. The thing is, but still, fast growing cities have crime, pollution, disease, and injustice. That is one side. On the other side, you have business, you have innovation, you have education. So you have your positives as well as you have your negatives. So positives will be your business, innovation, education, entertainment. Negatives will be your crime, pollution. So you have both fast growing cities. But if they are overall a net good for those who move there. It is because cities offer more than just jobs. So for the people who are moving to the cities, right, it is not just about jobs. There's something more. There's something more. It is not just about the jobs. There's something more. Okay, they are transformative. They are transformative in the slums as well as the office towers and leafy suburbs. The progress is from hick to metropolitan to cosmopolitan. So what happens is the cities will develop over time. The cities will develop and they transform. That is, initially they go from your rural, hick means rural or village or town, to metropolitans, obviously your bigger cities, metros, bigger cities or your metros. And cosmopolitan are the cities that are of an international level, cities of that are international standard. You can take it as international standard, like your Paris, London. Okay, so if we go back to the beginning. So the initial part is, the first paragraph talks about the squatter cities and how environmental friendly they are. Then in the second paragraph, it talks about, the one negative is how the Brazilian favelas are misusing electricity. The second case is they talk about the Aravi slum. Then they talk about Vietnam. They talk about Mozambique, where they reuse items. They are more efficient, green. And then Caltop makes a statement that goes against what most people feel, that the city is the most environmentally benign form of settlement. That is the most environmentally not harmful form of, or the best form of human settlement. Each city dweller consumes less land. Similarly, David Owen in his article has said that New York is one of the greenest because you have placed so many people in a small 23 square mile land island, therefore reducing the opportunity. Therefore there's no chance of you wasting whatever is available to you. Then urban density allows half of humanity, fine. Then they're given an example where cities have used have enabled people to get jobs, and as a result of that, people are no longer going into deforestation. So this is an example of that. For that, of course, fast growing cities are far from an uncontrollable goal. So you have two parts. One is crime, pollution, disease, and the other part is you have innovation, education, entertainment. And it is not only about the job. The cities transform. They go from hick to metropolitan to cosmopolitan. So we look at the questions. So first one, which one of the following statements would undermine? Which one of the following statements would undermine the author's stand regarding the greenness of cities? Would go against the author's stand regarding the greenness of cities? The compactness of big cities in the West increase the incidence of violent crime. Not relevant. Not necessary. Not relevant. Okay, not ideal. Okay, then sorting through rubbish contributes to the rapid spread of diseases. It's not. I mean, okay, that may happen, but that's not what we have discussed. So which one of the following statements would go against the author's stance? So mainly the author is talking that cities are the most environmental friendly because you have more people staying in a smaller piece of land, so obviously they cannot waste whatever opportunity is given to them. So this again is not relevant. The high density of cities lead to an increase in carbon dioxide and global warming. Now just look at this statement. The high density of cities. See, now the thing is, the author is continuously saying you have more people staying in a small piece of land. So a small piece of that is higher density is there. Then as a result of that, you have as a result of that, they are more environmentally friendly. So we have to find out some statement which is going against what the author is saying. So if you look at this, the high density of cities lead to an increase. Now, what is the point if you're staying all together when there's a drastic increase in carbon dioxide and global warming? So it's no longer going to be environmentally friendly, right? It's not going to be environmentally friendly. So this is the answer, which will go against the author's stand regarding the greenness of cities. Okay. Second one. According to the passage, squatter cities are environment friendly for all of the following reasons except what? So according to the passage, squatter cities are environment friendly. So out of these four, three are given in the passage. One is an exception. So you need to find out that exception. The transportation is energy efficient. They spoke about foot, bicycle, auto rickshaw. Yes, it is correct. Okay. They recycle material. Yes, they've given many examples. Dharavi, Vietnam, Mozambique. Yes. They sort out garbage. Yes. The streets are kept clean. Nothing is given about that. Because of that, they're environmentally friendly. No. So this is the exception. So this is your answer. So clearly it's given according to this passage, quarter cities are environment friendly for one is because the transportation is energy efficient, they recycle, that is, they reuse the material, they sort out garbage also, and the cities are kept clean, the streets are kept clean. That's the only odd one out which is not given in the passage. We can infer that Kaltop's statement still jars. Still jars. So I told you, right? Still jars means still is not agreeable. Still not agree. That is his statement. What did he say? What did he say? If you remember, his statement is that the city is the most environmentally not harmful form of human settlement. So this statement is still going against what most people feel. That means most people feel that the cities are the most polluted and they are not all environmentally friendly. Okay, so we will go to the options. Based on that, we'll select. We can infer that Kaltop's statement still jars. That still is not pleasant with most people because most people regard cities as places of disease and crime. Possible, but then we are looking at something to do with the environment, and that means something to do with that. Do not consider cities to be eco-friendly. This is the perfect answer. See, just see, the thing is they don't they he's saying that it is the most environmentally friendly, but still just means people in their hearts feel that that is not the case. So this is your answer. We look at the third and fourth. Do not regard cities as good places to live in. That is not the case. Here we are talking about green and environmentally friendly. Consider cities to be very crowded and polluted. No, this is your answer. So in the context of the passage, the author refers to Manos. Now, why did we see Manos? Manos, if you remember, we spoke about where the local people were, given jobs in mobile, what do you say? I think in making mobile phones, in making such things as mobile phones and televisions. As a result of that, they were no longer into cutting of trees. They were no longer into cutting of trees. So this example, if you look at it, so in the context of the passage, the author refers to Manos in order to explain how urban areas help the environment. Yes, correct. First option itself is correct. Describe the infrastructure efficiencies of the efficiencies of living in a city, not apt. Explain why cities source their labor for factories. Possible, but it's possible, but it is not telling the real purpose why the author has referred to Manos. Promote cities as employment hubs. No. Here he's trying to show how urban areas help the environment because they have got jobs. They are no longer cutting trees and harming the environment. Fifth one. From the passage, it can be inferred that cities are good places to live in for all of the following reasons, except that so it can be inferred that cities are good places to live in for all of the following reasons except. So out of these four options, three are reasons as to why cities are good places to live in. The fourth one is the only odd one out. So three options will tell you that cities are good places to live in, while the fourth one is an exception. Offer employment opportunities, it is given. Help prevent destruction of the environment is given. The example is Manos. Contribute to the cultural transformation, yes, it's given, right? It's going from Hick to Metropolitan to Cosmo. This is also given. Have suburban areas as well as office areas. Nothing is spoken about this. So this is the odd one out. Fine.